Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with us this evening. For the last 29 years and 49 emotionally painful days, the family of Catherine Edwards has been waiting for justice to be served on the evil person that ended her life in such a horrific way. Today is that day, ladies and gentlemen. The jury has convicted Clayton Foreman of murdering Catherine. I'm Keith Gilman, and I'm the district attorney in Jefferson County, and I'm proud to announce that an attentive jury in this case listened to the evidence that was eloquently and succinctly presented to them by prosecutors Pat Knaut, Mike Laird, and Sonny Eckert. The evidence detailed a journey of law enforcement, the Beaumont Police Department, the Texas Rangers, an assisting agency who, from the day Catherine was tragically murdered, never relinquished their duty and personal drive to catch the person that killed Catherine. That day, January 14th, 1995, forever shocked the city of Beaumont and devastated Catherine's family and friends. Catherine was a loving daughter, a loving sister to her brother, a loving sister to her twin and best friend, Allison. She was a dedicated and beloved fifth grade teacher at Price Elementary. She cared deeply for her students. She tutored special needs children after school. She loved her friends and fellow teachers she worked with, and they loved her. Today, Clayton Foreman was convicted by a jury of his peers for the brutal killing of Catherine. And although he will spend the remaining years of his pathetic life in a jail cell, we all know that today's result does not and cannot bring Catherine back to us. But for the family and for our community, today's results give closure that we have waited for 29 years. Clayton Foreman's conviction also brings long-awaited justice to so many others who have been hurt and destroyed by his actions. I want to acknowledge and thank all the civilian witnesses who bravely faced Foreman in court and in some cases had to relive their own personal horrors suffered at the hands of Clayton Foreman. Their testimony of 30-year-old memories was vital to this case and helped paint the true picture of the face of evil in human form. I also want to thank all the dedicated folks who helped in this investigation and participated in this trial. I want to acknowledge some of the important people who helped us get the justice and closure for Catherine. I want to thank the entire Edwards family, notably Catherine's sister Allison Bricado and husband Jim, the family of Catherine's brother Lum Edwards Jr., and all of the others who loved Catherine and her family. I want to thank the Beaumont Police Department for their tireless efforts to solve this case, specifically the great work of Aaron Llewellyn and his wife Tina Llewellyn, and the unwavering support of Beaumont Police Department Chief Jimmy Singletary. I want to thank the Texas Rangers, especially Brandon Bess, for spearheading the effort to solve this case in 2020. I want to thank all the excellent scientists at the Austin DPS Crime Lab and the Houston DPS Crime Lab for their efforts, specifically Tanya Dean, the lead analyst in Houston, and Cassie Carradine, the retired analyst from Austin. I want to thank the FBI Crime Lab, specifically Kerry Owen and FBI agent Tom Gill, for their continued and unwavering cooperation with our office on this and other cold cases. I want to thank genealogist Shara LaPointe for her willingness to join this investigation and work tirelessly in developing family trees that ultimately help create new leads for these detectives. I want to thank members of our county's local crime lab who helped track these items of evidence that ultimately established the identity of Catherine's killer, Linda Johnson, Angela Fitzwater, and Steve Mays. And I want to thank my prosecutors and all the investigators in my office and our entire staff who worked tirelessly to keep this trial running smoothly. And I also want to thank former District Attorney Bob Wortham, who took this case in and instigated it. Catherine was an amazing person who was taken from our community too early. It pains me deeply that this case was not solved before her parents passed away. But I want to encourage everyone to honor her memory, not for the terrible things this evil man did to her, but for how wonderful and full of life she was. She embodies the good people of this community, and that's how we should choose to remember her. Thank you so much. I'll open it up for questions.
Mr. Gilman, I guess we'll start. Are there other cases, when you get a conviction in a case like this, are there others that come to mind for your office, other cold cases that you're inspired to pursue again?
Yes, Jordan. I think there are. We've talked about this on many occasions, and we intend that we try to keep up. I know all the investigators do keep up with the latest technology as far as DNA, and we're looking at other cases too, and we will examine every case that we can to see if we can do the same type of investigation and prosecution.
Do others want to speak, or do you want to speak all questions?
I want to hear from somebody else.
Pat? Oh no. I've spoken enough. I've spoken court. I'm good.
No, everyone's done such an amazing job, but I will tell you that this whole team. What people don't realize, I told one of the journalists, what people don't realize is this is not the only case that my prosecutors and these investigators have. I've seen them for the last year work their cases, being murder cases and robbery cases and aggravated assault cases and rape cases, and work those cases and prosecute those cases. And at night and on weekends, they're up here working on Catherine's case. This was an amazing result from an amazing team. Okay. Wow, that was easy.
I have to ask one last question.
Sure.
Because people have posed it to us. Why was the death penalty off the table in this case?
It was my understanding, and Pat may want to help me with this, it was my understanding that Mr. Wortham, after looking at the investigation, made a decision that we couldn't show a continuing threat because the killer had been silent for 30 years. And so it was hard to show a continuing threat, or at least be able to prove that in court to seek the death penalty. So we thought that it was something that we probably couldn't get, and so Mr. Wortham didn't ask for it. I agree with that decision, and I would like for this man to spend the rest of his life suffering in a jail cell. It's possible. Anything's possible. I'm sure there may be. But we just don't know about them. And I know these guys have uncovered every lead that they can and try to match him up in every other case that they could possibly come to, but it's just not there that we can find right now. Yes, ma'am.
Could you kind of emphasize why you said that the testimony was so vital to this proceeding?
I'm sorry?
Could you kind of emphasize why the victim's testimony was so vital to reaching a verdict today?
I stopped.
I think she's speaking maybe about, the
Well,
sex
why?
Former victim.
Okay. Go ahead, Pat.
All right.
Could you
Sure. Play that.
Just what I was trying to avoid. No, I do not. We wanted to offer the prior victim to establish. The defense had brought up the issue of identity and lack of consent, and while we didn't feel like that was we weren't threatened by that challenge, it's still we're allowed to answer it, and part of the way you can answer is you bring prior crimes or prior acts which are of a signature type, meaning that they're so similar to what occurred in your main crime that we can bring in that case. And in that prior crime, the methods that were used by the defendant were so similar to what occurred to Catherine that we felt that would help the jury, may help the jury in cementing their thoughts about the identity and possibly lack of consent. Good.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us.
Very much appreciate it.
couldn't understand what she was saying. Why is the file on the bench?
I thought on there,